What up, what up, what up? It's your girl K.Honesty, and I'm about to do a review of Tyler Perry's Sistas, Season 8, Episode 17, which I know I'm some days late on, but as I am closely approaching my due date, these reviews will be a little later than usual, so excuse my tardiness, but I try to get these reviews out as quickly as I can, as soon as I can, so this was the soonest that I could get this review out, so thanks for watching if you are watching it this late, but like I was just saying, it's been days, so you should have seen this episode of Tyler Perry's Sistas by now. But if you haven't seen this episode of Tyler Perry's Sistas, Season 8, Episode 17, then turn this video off and go watch the episode and then come back and watch this video. And please like the video, subscribe to my channel. It's a simple, anonymous, free way to support my channel. It's the best way to support my channel. It takes less than 5 seconds out of your time. I can't stress enough how much it helps my channel by just liking and subscribing. I'm not a public speaker, so I will tend to fumble my words and say and so and like 1,000 times. I may stop to regain my thoughts. I may slow my speaking down to regain my thoughts. Anything I say is my opinion. It does not reflect anyone or anything associated with the show. I'm going to definitely be looking at my notes that I take throughout the show. And like I said, as I'm closely approaching my due date, my breathing is becoming very much more heavier, so excuse me if I am taking deep breaths as I talk and whatnot, but either way, comment below what you would grade this week's episode, what you thought about it. If there's anything that I forget to talk about or I leave out or I'm off on, just let me know in the comments. Or if you just have an opinion in general, leave it in the comments. I'm not a public speaker. I think I already said that, yeah. So you will hear the and yeah, the forgetfulness is there, so. I'm going to grade this week's episode. This week's episode was not bad. We were kind of moving along with the storyline. So I will give it, I'm going to give this week's episode a B-. It wasn't bad. This week's episode of The Oval and Sistas was not bad for me. I feel like we're kind of getting somewhere. We're kind of moving things along. It wasn't just one note. We had a lot of moving parts. So I appreciated that this week. So I'm going to go with a B-. So yeah, last chance. If you haven't seen Tyler Perry's Sistas, Season 8, Episode 17, turn this video off so you don't get any spoilers. Okay, let's go. So this episode begins with Gary in the hospital, waking up to him being restrained. Hudson comes in. He's like, it's for your own good. Gary's asking for Andy. Hudson's telling Gary, you need to forget about Andy. He's like, you need to just he's like, I'm going to always be here for you. Unlike Andy, I'll never betray you. Just saying dumb shit. Then we get this scene at the bank, which was really surprising. Maurice is confronted. I mean, not confronted, but he's having to deal with this homophobic customer. And Paige comes to his defense. And Maurice is surprised by, I mean, we're all surprised that Paige comes to his defense. And she's like, I have a gay brother, and I represented the gays in college, blah, blah, blah. And Maurice is like, oh, well, give me your brother's number, you know. So they start to warm up to each other. Sabrina comes over, and she's like, oh, well, this is refreshing. It's good that you guys are warming up to each other. I won't have to keep dealing with y'all mess. And then they start talking shit about Sabrina, and Maurice is like, Sabrina always going through something like a TV show. And Paige is like, I sense that. So I'm glad. I kind of would rather see them get along than that little fake ass banter that they would have going at each other. It wasn't really, that wasn't hilarious for me. So we get this next scene. I don't even know why they kept putting Hayden and Tamara in this episode, but we get this scene with Hayden and Tamara. They're making out, and then all of a sudden Hayden starts choking Tamara up, telling her to call him Gary. And Tamara, you know, they having this back and forth. They're going at each other. I don't even remember everything they said. Tamara's like, you know, I already apologized for the Gary situation. So if you can't get over it, then we just need to dead whatever this is what we got going on. So then we get this scene at Rich's smoothie shop. He's telling Jordan that when he went to go talk to Sabrina, he saw Damani in her office. And Jordan's like, okay, well, why was Damani there? And Rich is like, well, I didn't even find out. I just got mad and left. And Jordan's like, well, you should have let you should have let Sabrina explain herself. You need to talk to Sabrina. And Rich is like, yeah, maybe I should have. He's like, but you also need to, he tells Jordan he needs, I was surprised by this, because I was like, Rich is the one out of all the guys that don't really fuck with Andy. But he tells Jordan, you need to talk to Andy, because you'll never find peace until you did whatever it is that you still have going with Andy. So then we get to see Andy's basically calling around to see what allies she has still at her job, see what clients she still has and whatnot. And then Jordan calls her and asks if they could talk. And of course, Andy's apprehensive. She's like, I don't want to be around you or your sister. Your sister going to put hands on me again. So we back at lunch with Robin and Penelope. And remember in the last episode, Penelope asked Robin, what is it with you? What happened between you and Andy? And, I was saying, and Robin shouldn't tell Penelope ass shit, especially with Penelope being, like, Andy's biggest hater or whatever the case may be. It's just like, but either way, Robin, he doesn't go into great detail, but he basically tells her, he's like, Gary is the reason why me and Andy didn't go the distance. And then Penelope's like, she starts going off on Andy, going off about how Andy is this awful person. And Robin's like, well, that's not Andy's character, I guarantee you. And he brings up Andy. She's like, he's like, didn't she try to warn you about Gary? And Penelope's like, well, that's only so me and my baby could get out of the picture so she could have Gary. And then Robin's like, well, I'm confused because you're saying that she wanted to bring you and Jordan in with Gary to bring y'all down, but now you're saying she wanted you out the way. And Penelope's like, well, I don't know what goes on in Andy's head. And then she's like, well, I can tell that she's still in your heart. So then we get this scene. Fatima comes home. She tells Zach about Miss Marie's little ambush with all the girls. And then she brings up them having to find something to give to Agent Watt as far as their little investigation goes. Excuse me. So Zach suggests that they give Agent Watt the footage that they have of Tamara and Gary. And, he's like, that'll put Tamara and Hayden at the top of the suspect list. So Karen comes home. Mama Lisa is furious that Karen went to Andy's. And she's like, you going to Andy's? Fuck Andy. She says, fuck Andy. So then Karen comes to Andy's defense. She's like, in Andy's defense, Andy only asked me to be on speakerphone while everyone else was there. But she's like, I'm the one that chose to go over to Andy's. Mama Lisa starts calling her stubborn and talking about her father. I thought we was about to get earful about her father, because we don't know that much about Karen's father or any of their fathers for that matter, or their parents for that matter. So I was about to say, oh, here we go. But they didn't really talk about that. So then she tells Karen, I made you dinner. I'm going to go back to the salon to check on Pam. Of course, she doesn't tell Karen about Pam sleeping with Trey in her office. She's like, I'm going to go back to the salon to check on Pam. And then she tells Karen that she called over reinforcements, like a babysitter for Karen. So we go back to Hayden and Tamara. Hayden brings up the video of Tamara and Gary. Tells her it shouldn't be that off for her to say Gary's name after what he saw in the video. And Tamara then tells Hayden that he's obsessed with Gary. Pam calls Sabrina and asks her about, like, when will we get our business plan? Miss Marie is still wanting that from us. Sabrina's like, oh, I'm sorry. I haven't even gotten started on it yet, but I'm working on it. I'm going to get that for you guys soon. Oh, excuse me. Then Pam tells Sabrina, you sound sad. I know I'm not in the sister circle, but you can talk to me and tell me what's going on. So we get to scene at the airport. I'm so tired so irritated and over the Danny and Tony situation. This nigga Tony comes up to Danny trying to talk to her at work. Why do y'all think y'all being investigated by HR in the first place? Y'all just keep being seen together. And I more so blame Tony because Danny only has one spot that she has to be in at work. Tony, you keep coming over there, and it's just like at the end of the day, who you think gonna lose their job first? Her, not you. Because you in a bigger, higher position than her. It's just so annoying that he just keep doing that. So he come over there, And Danny, she basically, she points out, she's like, we shouldn't be seen talking to each other since we're being investigated by HR. And it's like he don't give a fuck. So then, she mentions the coworker, Leonard, who was probably, well, we find out that he is the one that filed the complaint. I mean, who didn't think it wasn't him? But she brings up that he's watching them at this moment. And Tony's like, good looking out, and walks off. I'll see you at your place tonight. It's just like, y'all don't have phones. Y'all can't text each other. Like, it's so annoying. Like, this is the stuff sometimes where I be like, Tyler Perry, what are you doing? I was just like, why are you even over there? Y'all are being investigated by HR and you over there in her space. The nigga that filed the complaint is watching y'all. It's just so annoying. So after Tony walks away, Danny then goes over to Leonard. And Leonard sarcastically brings up the HR complaint. We go back to this phone conversation between Andy and Jordan. Jordan's like, well, can we meet at my place? And Andy's like, no, because I'm not trying to deal with your sister. And then Jordan's like, well, let's go to Rich's smoothie shop. And she's like, no, I don't want Rich or Sabrina involved. And then she's like, well, we're going to have to meet somewhere neutral to talk. And they mention a spot. I forgot the name of it. I think it's Big Mike's. I don't remember. But it turns out to be the spot where Penelope and Jordan are having lunch at right now. So they agree to meet there. So back with Penelope and Robin. Robin urges Penelope not to trust Agent Watts. He's like, he's trying to take you down. He's not trustworthy. He's just trying to make an arrest. And then Penelope tells Robin, I appreciate all that you've been doing for me, even if Andy put you up to it. We go back to Fatima's place. Fatima doesn't agree that they should give the footage to Agent Watts. She says, we should use the footage to turn Hayden and Samira against each other in hopes that one of them will pin the stabbing on the other. And they're like, let's go pay Hayden and Samira a visit. And from the conversation that we see between, the last conversation that we see between Samira and Hayden, it's looking like Hayden probably, the way this episode ends, it's looking like Hayden is probably going to be the one that did stab Gary. So, back at the airport, Leonard tells Danny he was in the right to file the complaint, basically admitting that he did it. He's like, I worked my ass off to get into this leadership program, and you just laid on your back. And then tells Danny she comes in smelling like weed every day, and Danny's like, well, I'd rather smell like weed than coffee. And Leonard's like, I don't smell like coffee. And Danny smacks his coffee out of his hand, and it lands all over him. So then we get the scene at the hospital. This new character, Nurse Erica, she comes in to check on Gary. And Gary asks to be, he puts the charm on. He asks to be released from his restraints. And Nurse Erica is like, well, I can't do that, but I can loosen them for you. So she loosens them for him. And then Gary's like, what have you heard about me? And she tells him the stuff that goes around in the hospital about him being rich or whatever. So he offers to pay off her student loans if he does something for her in return. I knew it wasn't going to be sexual, but they tried to make it seem like that. Back at Karen's place, Aaron arrives, basically letting Karen know that he's the babysitter that Mama Lisa called. We go back to Hayden and Penelope. Yeah. No, we go back to Hayden and Samira. And Hayden's like, you, Penelope. He's telling Samira, you, Penelope, Andy, you're all obsessed with Gary. He's like, I know I said I could get over you and Gary's situation, but I don't think I can. We go to Sabrina and Pam's phone call, where Sabrina's filling Pam in on her whole fertility drama. Pam's not even really listening. Then we go back to the airport. Leonard is hysterical about getting the coffee thrown on him. Tony and the HR lady rush over, asking what's going on. We go back to the hospital. Nurse Erica lets Gary out of his restraints, brings him all his belongings. Gary promises that he'll pay off Erica's student loans. We go back to Karen's place. Aaron asks Karen if he can stay. Karen's like, yeah, you can stay. Tells him, I want you to stay. And then she kisses him. And he kind of pulls back. And he's like, where's all this coming from? And she's like, I thought this is where we were going. And then Aaron tells Karen, you know, I never stopped having feelings for you. And Karen's like, well, don't, because I'm ready. I'm ready for this. And Aaron, you know, he asked a valid question. He's like, are you only checking for me now because Zach is building a life with someone else? Which is a valid question. Like, all the time that Aaron been trying to be with Karen, Karen was still with Zach. But it's like, if she clearly over him now, like, now you got to make a decision, Aaron. You want to be with her, or you can't get over the fact that she only chose you because you was the runner-up. Like, you was the only choice, basically. So then we get this final scene. Andy and Jordan, they walk into the place to find Penelope and Robin having lunch. Looking all cozy, which is what Penelope wants it to look like. Robin doesn't even notice that that Andy and Jordan have even walked in. But, you know, Penelope's playing it up. She's putting her hand all over Robin's face, and Andy's looking kind of heated. So it's just like, do you still have feelings for Robin, but you said you love Jordan? It's just like, I don't know. But that's how the episode ends. Like I said, I would still give it a B-. It was like, it wasn't just one note. We got a lot of different things happening in this episode, which I appreciated. So it wasn't dragging, lagging, or whatever. It wasn't the best episode, but it wasn't boring compared to other episodes the way they have been. So I appreciated this episode. Like I said, we see in the next episode, Tamara is like, she's telling Hayden, you tried to leave town because you tried to kill Gary, blase, blase. We see Gary. I guess Gary did have some memory loss because he's calling Hayden, talking about, Hayden's my friend. He don't remember the fallout he had with Hayden, so he calls Hayden over to help Hayden deal with the Hudson situation. And Hayden's like, I got you, buddy. So I feel like Hayden's just gonna, you know, play it until he can't no more and ruin Gary because you know he don't fuck with Gary. And I'm assuming he's the one that probably tried to kill Gary. If they make it somebody else at this point, I'm gonna be like, huh? But yeah, we shall see what else happens in the next episodes. Those are my little thoughts for this week's episode and episodes to come. Comment below what you would grade this week's episode, what you thought about it. If I left anything out, was off on anything, or you just have an opinion in general, leave it in the comments. Like and subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to support my channel. It takes less than 5 seconds to do. It's free. It's anonymous. Best way to support. So comment below. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching this review. And I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.